And good evening. It's Tuesday night, May 4th, 2010. I'm Dennis Hudson at orangequant.com with an update on your SPY forecast. We're looking at the weekly chart here, but we're going to have to wait about another 45 seconds for that logo to go away, and then I can talk about it. And in case you haven't looked at that April 1 SPY forecast for the second quarter, it's holding true and staying within the defined ranges of that forecast based on FLIR 2 tools of synthetic trend lines and H205. Well, that forecast was only synthetic trend lines. So you might want to look back at that forecast if you haven't already, because that contains the quarterly chart as well. So you'll want to take a look at that too. Okay, we're getting rid of the logo, it looks like, in a couple seconds. This won't be a long broadcast. Alright, we have our weekly chart here, and which had to be redone because the weekly does change, the daily does change, but the quarterly and the yearly don't change as often. And they don't change by much, by the way. None of them changes really by much. Okay, looking here, where the current week is over here, that last candle, and you can see that it's slipping south to a support level, and that happens to be 116, that yellow line that I drew there. And the reason that line is there is because that's where this week's candle could bump into that lower pink synthetic trend line. So I just drew it across to show you what the price could be. It may not get all the way down there, but that would be support. It would have some difficulty getting lower than that. Now, to the right of that, you can see the intersect, which I'll draw in for you here. And the intersect over here, this intersect that I just circled in red, that marks an inflection, and that's late next week. So that week will either be an up inflection, a northbound inflection, or a southbound inflection. And as I've said many times before, it's really impossible to know for sure which it will be. You have to watch and see. Well, there's a short video on my site, orangequant.com, that explains about inflections, but briefly again, you just watch and see, is it a lower high and lower low than the preceding week forming, or is it higher high and higher low, and then you'll know whether it's an up or down inflection. So that's an inflection. Now, when we look at this chart, we think, gee, that inflection point is probably going to be southbound. In other words, next week could be a lot lower than this week. My bias is that that's not going to be the case, and the reason I say that is because when that candle for this week, once it gets down to that support level, next week is going to be a higher low. I just don't see next week breaking down through that to follow that light blue trend line. So I'm thinking next week is an up inflection, but we'll see. Anyway, that's about all I have for you. I hope this serves you and helps you. And if you want to get that FLIR 2 ebook, you want to go over to orangequant.com and grab it. Good luck trading out there. I'm Dennis Hudson. Stay with me.